As a writer, you pour your heart and soul into crafting your story, carefully choosing each word to bring your message to life. But what happens when you're ready to share that story with the world? The publishing process can be complex and overwhelming, leaving many talented authors to feel lost and discouraged. That's where we come in. EA Books Publishing. With our expertise in every step of the publishing journey, from creation and design to editing and marketing, we're here to be your partner in bringing your unique message to the masses. Our team of industry professionals is dedicated to helping you powerfully and effectively share the story God has given you. In this video, we'll join our marketing manager, Monica Miller, and meet one of our amazing authors. Discover how EA Books made their publishing dreams a reality through audiobooks. We can do the same for you. We are EA Books Publishing.
When you decide to add an audiobook to your publishing package?
Well, it was probably multifaceted. I certainly had talked to people from EA Books about it, but I had friends and some relatives, my nephew, and he was late 20s, and he said, I only listen to books. I don't read them. And I'm like, oh, wow, I really want you to read my book. And so there were friends of mine who they had such busy work schedules, etc., that when they're traveling, they listen to audiobooks. And that's the primary way that they read books throughout the year. So I thought, wow, this is a market that, one, I have friends that are and relatives that are in and value it greatly. And so I thought, well, maybe I should also enter that market, not just the paperback book, not just the ebook, but also provide an audiobook and cover all the bases, so to say.
You narrated your book. So can you talk about that process?
Right. This was a brand new experience for me. And I remember talking to the people in the audiobook section of EA Books and actually asking a few of the people I was talking to, hey, maybe would you be interested in narrating my book? And they came back pretty quickly and said, you need to do your own book. And at first I was a little hesitant because I've always thought that I had a unique voice, and which wasn't as, it was kind of in a lower resonance than a lot of other people. And they said, no, you need to do it because, and in the past, over the last 25, 30 years, I've been in the studio recording music. So I have sung and recorded a number of CD albums. So being in the studio alone wasn't odd, but reading was definitely something totally different than anything I'd ever experienced. So when a number of people suggested you already have a voice that people recognize because of your music, that reading the book would be beneficial if you did that as well. And so I began the process with a studio not far from where I'm at, and a great guy, Doug Lins, who was the recording engineer for the whole project. And it was his first audiobook and my first audiobook. So we kind of walked through and jumped through a lot of hoops that were new for both of us. But the process alone, which was a learning process for both of us, became really valuable. And it even cemented some of what I had written even more into my own heart.
I love that. And if you were to write another book, would you narrate your book again?
I think so. I mean, it wasn't, other than it was a different experience. When you record a song that's 3 to 5 minutes long, you're now recording a chapter that's close to 30 minutes long. And so it's definitely a whole different environment. And yet there are some similarities. There are less factors at play because it's a voice that's being recorded as opposed to instruments, vocals, background vocals, and all this stuff. But I would definitely do it again that way, simply because an audiobook is extremely valuable considering the number of people who are listening to them these days.
Mm-hmm. And it has actually jumped up 8% last year. The audiobooks did, while from 2022. So it's growing. It's definitely growing. So how has it been since your audiobook has been released? What kind of feedback or testimonials have you had thanks to your book being an audiobook?
Well, it's really interesting. I've certainly got, when it dropped last fall, a number of people jumped on right away, including my nephew. He's listened to it. He just said, wow, this is really good. And when I take it from a person who has listened to many audiobooks, those comments matter a lot to me, because they have been in that platform for a long time, of which I may listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't really listen to audiobooks. I still read books myself. So I have not been in that world for a long time. So hearing people who have come back, and some people responding as soon as it dropped, they said, I just picked it up, I'm halfway through and they were done with it in a couple of days, and they were just so thrilled and they said, now I'm going to listen to it again. And so the response has been very good with the audiobook. And even just recently, the recording engineer that I worked with, Doug Lins, he passed away last fall. And so that was really sad for me. But his wife listened to it when it dropped, and she came back and she said, wow, this was his final project that he did before he passed away. And she said that's one of his best works, and it was outstanding quality. And this is coming from someone who's the wife of the recording engineer. And so I just was so moved by that comment, because she's one who would know. And she was really impressed. Not only, she said, was it moving and inspiring, but the quality was exceptional. And I thought, okay, that's really good, because I don't have a grid for what would sound good or what wouldn't sound good. I don't know the difference between the two in terms of an audiobook. So I've really appreciated the number of people who have passed on the book, who have recommended it, who have even left reviews on whether it's been Amazon or Audible or wherever they're leaving some of these Kindle comments, and sending me comments as well. That's been really fun too, and encouraging to me to hear from them.
Yeah, I love that. So is there any important words of encouragement or anything you would like to tell authors who are on the fence of, should I add an audiobook to my repertoire of books that I'm writing?
I definitely think that this is a valuable platform to enter into the audiobook format. And whether that is that you get a narrator, I mean, surely the time involved to yourself sit in the studio, unless you have your own studio, and potentially the cost involved, or if you can get involved with a person who has already done it, so it might shorten some of the learning curve, that might be helpful. But I would highly recommend that in hitting a market that is certainly out there in this culture that we live in, of people in a fast-paced life wanting to listen to something and do 4 other things at the same time. There are plenty of people who fit into that category who would love to hear what you have written, be whether they're inspired by it, encouraged by it, or just entertained by it, that the words that are written and recorded can definitely make an impact and make a difference in the lives of other people, which is certainly some of the intent of our book, which was When Faith Dares, was trying to encourage people to envision the improbable and to trust the Lord when it doesn't make sense, and to dare stay the course when it defies logic, and not give up and bail. And so that can speak to many people across many life changes and styles and areas and beliefs and challenges, that to dare believe and to stay in something. And if that can help people fight through hard and receive the power of courage to continue to go on, that to me is a valuable reason to record an audiobook and help other people in their lives.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that we have different options now to give people